Hello, everyone, to the monthly EVerest Technical Steering Committee for July 2025. It's summertime. There's not so much busy news, but we had a super busy recording and webinar recently. We'll talk about that. And also we're doing some progress on 2.1, and there has been new updates on the configuration service. All of that later in this recording, and there's time marks. You can jump forward. But before we get started, I have to quickly show the antitrust policy. There could be competition here in the room, and basically, please behave. So, what's new? I think we can make it quick. There is, as far as I know, this month no publicly known new EVerest-based charger announced. We know quite a few which are in the pipeline, and if you want to be listed here because you want to drive your sales, just let us know. And same is true for the charger controller vendor. There's also quite a bit in the pipeline, but also no update on this. Recap of events, what happened in the last weeks, especially the EVerest introduction webinar. I think we had the last recording was from 2021 or so it was a quite old recording. And now we finally restarted, updated on the new architecture and all the new details, also introduced a bit to the mechanics of this community. And we got quite a few people visiting, joining the recording, and also quite a few views on YouTube. So I think that was quite a real success. Pete, since you did that, anything to add from your side?
Not really. We had quite some participants and quite some interest also in the Q&A section. So that was nice to see that there is apparently a lot of interest around the project. Yeah, that was very nice.
Thanks a lot. So EV charging special interest group. I haven't joined them, and Robert, who is steering them, is on vacation. But I think Pete, you or Kai covered, right?
Yeah, it's actually at the same time right now. I think it was moved to today. So Kai is covering here.
Okay, I think we should in the future make a bit more space between those two meetings, and we have an easier time with updating slides. Okay, the EVerest framework. Please, yep. Pete, take it from here.
It was already mentioned in the highlights that we have implemented the configuration service for getting and setting module configurations at runtime. So you can now make use of this feature and actually set configuration parameters from module A, for example, at module B. And this configuration will be applied either in the user config YAML. That was something that we supported for a while, but it was not updated at runtime. And you can also make use of the configuration database that is now available as a storage backend for configuration changes, which will probably be the one that will be used most in production in the future. This is especially helpful for reporting all kinds of configuration of the modules via OSPP. If you like to do that, you can now, so OSPP is already using that feature that every module is reported as a component and every configuration parameter is reported as a variable. So that makes it very transparent what is actually configured on the charger. And for setting the configuration, you can also make use of that. And the changes are applied, but for all EVerest configuration parameters, a reboot is required to actually have an effect. So the changed configuration variable is only applied on the reboot. And other than that, the pull request 210 that is mentioned here added explicit exceptions during command calls and handling. That includes timeout exceptions that you can receive also when, for example, module A calls module B. Module A can now catch a timeout or can even catch an exception that happened in the module that handled the call. and that provides quite some flexibility. Also allows us to improve the stability across module calls and commands. And the PR that is mentioned under work in progress is 287. This is also an interesting feature that adds support for what we call multiple provides of modules. It is, of course, possible that a module can provide multiple interfaces. The EVerest, for example, is a good example. It provides the port support interface twice. But this multiple provides feature allows you to define that the module implements an interface n times. And for every command call, an index is used that identifies the module, and then all implementations of that actually run only in one module, so only in one Linux process. So that we think that especially in distributed setups with lots of charging points, that this allows us to reduce the number of Linux processes and improve performance quite a bit. Yep, that's it on that side.
So let's go to energy management and grid integration. I think only little happened.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that we did are covered by the car communication working group and the cloud communication update, but there's no specific PR that we mentioned here. There's just ongoing work on the bidirectional functionality for OSPP and ISO 15118, and the EEBus pull request is still something that we work on, where we also picked up the communication with Telegolf again and not with Telegolf. That is for OpenADR. But we hope to get this over the finish line very soon.
I mean, the EEBus features, I think, in review since quite a while. So yeah, that's fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So cloud communication, I guess that's a long one as usual.
Yes, there are quite some things that we were able to merge. The last things we did are on the top. Maybe I can just quickly go over them. So the 2.1 messages introduced arrays of string enums, where we had identified an issue with the code generator that we had that was fixed. Also, there was some old messages from draft versions that were generated but not really used, and those were removed. Yeah, we actually merged pull requests to include OSPP 2.1 and everything we did around this so far. So we had a feature branch for 2.1. This is has now been merged into the main branch, and this includes OSPP 2.1 functionality for smart charging and the V2X support, so the bidirectional functional block. Yeah, and more below, there are a couple of minor things and small bug fixes that we added. We continue to work on Q01 and Q02 and bringing all the building blocks together. And we started to actually add OSPP 2.1 tests to our end-to-end test suite, so that we can add tests for bidirectional charging with the -20 modules with OSPP 2.1, and make use of everything that we prepared for quite a while, and now we see that things are like the building blocks are coming together, and we can actually apply these scenarios. That's it, Marco. Next slide.
Let's go. Car communication.
Right. Since Moritz is not here, I will try to cover for him as well. We have extended or added EV API and extended the EV manager with SOC calculation. There was quite some work going on for the value-added services feature of ISO 15118. So there's a new value-added service provider module. a stop charging command has been added to the API module, the MQTT API module that we have. And there was a fix related to plug and charge that in the service discovery response message, we actually remove the installer service when certificate installation is not available. In the libIce 15.11.8-20, there were some things that we worked on for the implementation of the -20, and yeah, can't really go in detail there, but we continue to work on the -20 AC side. There are draft PRs open, and not only that, but also, of course, on the car side, we want to go hand in hand with the implementation that we have on the EVSE side in order to test for it. Not sure if it was already present last time, but the OpenSHA-Z repository is also available within the EVerest organization. It's an open source implementation of the GBT-SHA-Z standard, which now needs integration into the EVerest ecosystem. So it's basically a library like libOCP, libOSF 15.11.8 that actually needs a module that makes use of it and applies it.
Yeah, and there will be some kickoff, I think, after the summer break, together with a consortia working on it, and we're looking for more people to join. MCS, I think there have been some news on megawatt charging.
Yeah, the EVSE manager module has been adapted in EVerest Core for megawatt charging support, and there were actually no big changes to the EVSE manager, and most adaptations are actually required in the board support.
So I think from the vulnerability management team, we got no news, which is, I think, good news. So nothing was found. And I think there is some security audit in the background where they're working on the timeline and getting it implemented. And if you find anything, there's a security mailing list where you can report or responsible disclosure any findings you have. Monthly release. This month is a consolidated release, and that means we're doing a bit of more testing than normally. And it has also a bigger merge window. And still summertime. Let's see what has it made all in that, besides all the things from the previous months.
Yeah, we are currently preparing the release candidate 1 for it. You can see some PRs here that will definitely be included. Yeah, quite some things that have been going on around ISO 15.11.8-20 and OSPP 2.1, and also yeah, bringing it all together will be part of the July release. So yeah, actually some useful features regarding 2.1 and the -20. And yeah, the full list of release notes comes, of course, with the release when we will publish it.
Thanks. So what's next? I think on the roadmap, we'll just slowly click through it because I think we have not updated that recently. And there will be a bigger roadmap update in the next quarter. Let's see when we work on that again. Upcoming meetings in a few weeks from now. Pionix and I think also some other organizations will be in the Netherlands on the Y Hacker Camping. I think, Pete, will you be part of that?
Yes, I'll be there.
Can you tell more?
Cornelius will also be there. Kai will be there. I think Andreas will be there from the Pionix side. There are like a couple of projects that we have in mind. There's, of course, always lots of things to do that we want to do when we're there. One is around energy management, actually, with all the things that come up in -20 and 2.1. We see that this will definitely also influence the energy manager module. That is one idea. One other idea is also focus on all the things that we are currently doing in the EVerest framework to actually improve the performance on on this side, so reducing number of processes, reducing number of threads. Yeah, so I hope we come up with a joint project that we can work on together, but it's still under discussion what we do there. But we will have an energy village where you can visit us if you're interested. We will bring some cars to the campground also in order to play around with those. Yeah, we have a micro megawatt car ready, so that we can play around with this and drive this at the campground. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited, and yeah, I hope we will have a good time there.
Cool. Share pictures. FrostCon, that is a conference we have never been so far. It feels like the small brother of the
FOSDEM, right?
Of the FOSDEM, right? That one I was looking for. Open source conference in Germany. Then for sure, big event, ICNC in Berlin. I think they're even starting unofficially on the 2nd of September. The 3rd of September, we have leadership breakfast where we inviting different leaders from the industry. If you think you should be there, please drop me a note on whatever channels. Happy to put you on the list. Then a week after, we have the Out of Energy Summit in Aachen, where I also will have a keynote, which I have to prepare. And then there is at least a Charon Festival in Jacksonville in Florida in November. And I think there's more things towards the end of the year. If we're missing anything on this list, please drop us a note. We're happy to add things here. And if you're going anywhere and talking about EVerest, also please just let us know. We're happy to include you in the updates. Next technical steering committee will be on the 28th of August. So a bit after summer break, I think in 5 weeks it's this cycle. Yeah, looking forward to it. And then let's stop the recording and dive into the discussion.